the day, and I encourage you to use it at any opportunity when you come up to speak. And today's word is lackadaisical. There may be alternatives out there, lackadaisical, even though we cannot verify those on the internet. Lackadaisical, lacking enthusiasm and determination, or carelessly lazy. And a sentence with that: the overworked and jaded statistician approached her analyses lackadaisically. I'll be back at the end of the meeting with my report.
Now I would like to invite our timer of the day, Abby.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, I am your timer today. We have two speakers today that have asked for 5 to 8 minutes for Joe and 5 to 7 minutes for Andrew. So when we are reviewing the time, I'll hold up the green card if you've hit 2 minutes. If you've hit 1 minute beyond that, you hit left, you have yellow and red, time is expired. And if you go beyond that, we also have a light where we can click and buzz you as well. Hopefully we won't have that happen today. Table topic speakers have 1 to 2 minutes. Green is 1 minute, yellow is 1 minute 30 seconds, and red is 2 minutes, and you want to close at that point. And evaluators today have 2 to 3 minutes, so 2 minutes for green, 2 minutes 30 seconds yellow, and red is 3 minutes. So let's try and keep our time today. Thank you.
Before we go to the inspiration, Sarah has a recognition.
Again, I'm Sarah. You all remember me. We have some recognition to give today with Toastmasters with high nooners, and I think this is a common thing. After a new member or newer member has reached their first 3 speeches, we like to award them with a pin. And it's also the time when we share our secret handshake. Stacy Johnson is a member that joined last spring, and she's actually given 4 speeches, so we're a little bit lackadaisical in giving out our pins on time. But she's been really great to have joined Toastmasters, high nooners in particular. It's been very refreshing to see her entertaining and, I would say, non-traditional, non-lackadaisical approach to giving speeches out of order, and very, very funny speeches. And I would like to recognize Stacy.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
We love you. We love you, Stacy.
Next, I would like to invite Shelly for the inspiration.
Yesterday I had the opportunity to take behind the scenes tour of Mayo Clinic, and was able to see some of the neat places in the Plummer building, behind the closed doors in the History of Medicine library, and we also went to the top of the Plummer building to see the Carillon. And it is such a neat opportunity to be able to see the Carillon in action, and what a special opportunity Mayo has to really, what it reminded me of is the way that Mayo cares for the body and the spirit and the soul. So it was neat to hear the carillons being played, and to think about how music changes and inspires us as people who work at Mayo Clinic, people who visit the campus, and patients who are often here for very serious reasons. So I wanted to share a quote with you today about music. Music will help dissolve your perplexities and purify your character and sensibilities, and in time of care and sorrow will keep a fountain of joy alive in you. Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I think music reminds us of humanity and community, and I have some words from the famous John Denver. Music does bring people together. It allows us to experience the same emotions. People everywhere are the same in heart and spirit. No matter what language we speak, what color we are, the form of our politics, or the expression of our love or our faith, music proves we are the same.
particular to write the conclusion first. Now, why in the world would I want you to write the conclusion before you write the speech? Would anybody like to give a reason for that?
To define your message.
To define the message? That's one of the two reasons for giving it. The first one, I mean, the one that was just mentioned, is to essentially encapsulate the point so in one sentence to guide it so that you know exactly what you're trying to say and what you're not trying to say. But there's another reason, and I'm sorry to have to admit this. Did you want to say something?
Oh, I had a guess.
Go ahead.
The reason is I want to end with what I want them to remember.
That's a very good point to the using of the conclusion. But the reason for writing it first is what I'm addressing first. The reason is that most of the speeches that are given here don't have a conclusion. People just run out of time and they quit. The conclusion should both summarize what you've said and motivate people to remember it. I'll talk about that in some detail in a minute. Now the first statement that I asked you to do, oh, by the way, there are 3 uses you could put that paper to, besides just crumple it up. The first one is to put the summary of the speech, how each of the 6 elements is defined. The second is that I'm going to give an example of a speech within a speech with all the 6 elements in it. And the third element, and this is the one which I would like to inspire you to use, is to write a speech right now, on the spot, quick and dirty, using those 6 elements. And I'm going to ask if anybody has done that at the end of the speech. Well, the conclusion really is such an important part of the speech that I'm going to give it in 2 parts. The structural part, and then at the end I'm going to give them the emotional aspect of it. All right, let me talk now about the power statement. The power statement is a 1-sentence summary of the key elements of your speech. Let me first illustrate this. Let's talk about a speech whose goal is one of 4 goals. You either inform, convince, teach, or tell. And I'm going to give an example of a persuasion speech. Join Toastmasters. That's the goal. It's 1 statement, and it's one which I don't even tell people. It's one that I tell myself to control all of what I do. In the conclusion, I'm going to state something like this. The structural part of a conclusion uses a power statement. The 3 reasons why you should join Toastmasters are to develop self-confidence, to become more influential, and to become a public speaker. That is the structural part of the conclusion. I'll give the emotional part in a few minutes. Now, what I've actually done also is to give the power statement. That 1 sentence describes the whole purpose of the speech, and it gives a preview to the audience of what to expect. So, you better follow it, or you're misleading people. Well, the next part is the main content of the speech. It's customary, and for psychological reasons, to have 3 main points. People have trouble remembering more than 3 points. I'm sorry I had to use 6. I violated the rule. But the main idea of 3 main points is a very strong structural element. In the case of the joining Toastmasters, the first main point is, if you join Toastmasters, you can improve your self-confidence. And in the actual speech, you would give examples of that, of how people have gained second main point is to join Toastmasters, you become more influential. And as we just saw in our preview here, people who are active in Toastmasters become influential, at least in Toastmasters, but probably also in board. And the third one, which I can't show here, is that if you join Toastmasters, you can become an effective political speaker. And I bet a lot of you, and I saw a smile there, I think a lot of you have already done that. And now finally, write the introduction. Why should you write the introduction at the end of the speech instead of after you've written the conclusion? Anybody have a comment to that? It's very important not to write the introduction until you know what the content of the speech is. The content should be very clear in your mind before you introduce it, because otherwise you're going to mislead people and you're going to mislead yourself. Well, we're getting pressure now. I'd like to say that I got a yellow flag. And there's an important part to the yellow flag. At that point, don't introduce any new material. Nothing you haven't said by now should be a part of the speech, because you should be writing the conclusion, which is to put together what you have said, not what you intended to say. And now I'd like to make a comment about how to end the speech. It should be emotional. You should refer to somebody's feelings. The advice that was given by one person was, try to find something that brings you to tears and talk about that. Well, how about some examples? Churchill said, let us behave in such a way that if England survives for 1,000 years, people will call up today and say, this was our finest hour. How about Martin Luther King, who said, I have a dream. And now I'd like to finish with another Winston Churchill comment. Give us the tools and we'll complete the task. You've got the 6 tools. Get to work.
We have 1 minute on evaluation. We have next speaker, Andrew. Andrew working on his project 4, how to say it. And the topic of his speak is challenges of coaching youth sports.
A few weeks ago, my family decided to go see my nephew's 5th grade basketball game. My wife, playing City League basketball and basketball all her life, was excited to go see him play. So we took a trip just down the road to the Lord's High School and watched his game. First off, that's a nice gymnasium. In my college, it was a Division I basketball team. they play Syracuse, all those top teams. Our gymnasium didn't compare to this. Unreal what they do there. But as we were watching this basketball game, we noticed the great difference in abilities of these kids playing. I mean, it was like watching a Toastmaster tell you about their day, or listen to a toddler tell you about their day. The disparity was just so different. And we also noticed it while the kids were playing, that out of 8 kids on the team, and only 5 needed on the court, 3, a common 3 generally sat the bench. So this actually got me thinking how the challenges of what youth coaches face today, and what I would do if I was in the coach's position. And as I was watching the game, I decided to come up with 3 points that I would focus on if I ever had to be a youth basketball coach, or just a coach in any sort of sports. First would be to make sure all the kids get to play. The second being understanding all of these kids' abilities and their levels. Then the third would be making sure the whole team is motivated and inspired to keep playing the sport. Now, when I mean getting all the kids out to play, at the 5th grade level, which is mainly 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds, the games don't count as much. This is the kids getting out for maybe the first few years of their life playing the sport. And I'm sure everybody's here heard the saying, practice makes perfect. Since there's no first place or second place at this level, I think one of the goals of the coach would be to make sure that all the kids get out there to play, and every game is counted as practice. When I say knowing these kids' abilities, my nephew, this is his first time playing basketball. The only time he's played basketball before this is in his driveway with his younger brother. So he wasn't quite aware of all the rules, and his dribbling ability wasn't there. Some of the other kids, this is their 4th or 5th year of playing basketball. They played on travel leagues, and their experience was far beyond what level my nephew was at. So I would think, as a coach, one of the biggest challenges is looking at all of the kids' levels, each individual kid's level, knowing their foundations, what they're starting at, and helping the kid build up to the next level. Now, these kids are going to be building up and learning the sport at different rates. So it's really a challenge to focus on each kid and help them progress to the next level. Now, the last point of keeping all the kids engaged and motivated is really a bit challenging, because, as I said, we want all the kids to play, but at the same time, the team knows if they're going to win or lose. At this point, the kids can count and keep score. So, having the kids lose every game is going to be a bit of a challenge. But they need to understand teamwork and keep motivated. Now, when I saw my nephew get the ball and dribble it down the court and shoot the basketball into the hoop, which was over here, the look on his face was just, it was worth $1 million. When he actually scored, he was running around, high-fiving all of his teammates. It was priceless. obviously, an easy way is to keep the not-so-good kids on the bench and the good kids keep playing to win. But that doesn't motivate the whole team. So this is a real challenge from a coach's perspective. But keeping them informed about teamwork and getting all the kids able to practice and play with the other kids helps them keep motivated and inspired throughout the whole season. Luckily at this point, I'm probably about 3 to 4 years away before my daughter starts playing in any sort of youth sports. Or even at that point, I'm asked to help coach or assist one of those youth sports. So luckily I have time to build up on this and look at these 3 challenges I pointed out. And I'm sure as I'm watching my nephew's sports, these number of challenges will increase as I watch them. But I have time to focus and look at what these coaches have to focus on. At first I thought it would just be a coach looking at a playbook that 5th graders can look at and play and get them through the game. But as I was watching my nephew's basketball game, I was realizing there's a lot more that goes into coaching these kids. You need to keep these kids inspired, keep them motivated, and find their foundation levels and help them build up so they can play with their teammates and keep them going.
Only have 1 minute for evaluation. Next part of the meeting is table topic. Let's invite Chris for table topic basket.
Thank you, Kyla. Nothing like short notice to warrant the bringing out of my table topic list. Be warned, this is not a crutch because I do not have a lackadaisical approach when it comes to table topics. Who does not have a role? Am I allowed to pick on Ann? Why don't you come on up, Ann? I will have you come up here and then I will give you the question. And I don't know if you have been here already, but this is where we have our on-the-spot training. Pick a number, 1, 2, or 3.
3.
The question is, the comment to talk about for 1 to 2 minutes is, true wisdom comes from experience. True wisdom comes from experience. Explain that statement.
Does
you can also, at table topics, you can also talk on any topic you want, you can ignore his topic. That's
Yeah.
the table topics,
You
right?
That is extremely appropriate.
Thank you.
also.
You can talk about what you had for breakfast if you want.
I could, talk about my, looking for a different position experience. That was a long journey. So what happened was that I've been looking for a different opportunity for the past year. And, there were a few opportunities that I was interested in, but, I didn't get an offer until recently. I got an offer. I accepted it. So I will be transitioned to a different position at the end of February. And over the course of the year, during, my looking for different positions, there were a lot of challenges. For example, the type of experiences that I have or do not have. Who do I know? And that sort of thing, right? It's not what you know, but who you know, that sort of thing. And at one point I said, I think I'm just gonna stay where I'm at and just see what happens, and just kind of quit looking for anything else because I sort of gave up. But then, I started looking again, and then another opportunity came up, and it wasn't really what I was looking for. Basically, the person contacted me and saying, you're not quite qualified for this position, but I have a potential position. You may be interested, so keep an eye out for that. So I think, perseverance and, just basically be patient and something will come along.
I beg your forgiveness for putting you on the spot like that. You did very well. You did very well. You can make disparaging comments about me after the fact. All right, I would love to ask Stacy. We have time for one more, I believe. Okay. Yes. Come on, Stacy. You're left with one or two.
One.
Poverty is a state of mind. Explain why that is true.
Or false.
Or what you had for breakfast this morning.
I have traveled in some places that are very poor, but the people there are very happy. They make the most out of what they have, and they seem to not want any more than they already have. When I look around the people around me, and even myself, I admit, I like to buy new things and pretty clothes, and I would love a new car, although I'm not gonna get one anytime soon. But I do have means at my disposal and a house, and we have 2 cars, and we have a fairly robust material life. But I look around and see a lot of people in this society who are struggling with depression and feeling sad or not good enough. And it seems almost pervasive in this culture that has a lot of material possessions to have a poverty in the state of their mind, whereas people living in some of the poorest nations seem to be able to find things to be happy about and to feel confident in what they have and what they're doing and their purpose in life, even though they have almost, compared to what I would look around at my possessions, compared to almost having nothing.
Thank you, Stacy. I have to admit that I did pick questions based on my upcoming experience opening up to suggestions for my family's involvement in a mission trip to Belize next week. So, thank you very much. That will be thought of in my travels next week.
Take this role, you are short notice. Next part of the meeting is evaluation. Let's invite Jenny for as a general evaluator.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. As all of you know, my role as general evaluator is to introduce the evaluation portion of the meeting. We switch gears a little bit, and to offer my overall evaluation of the meeting as well too. I do have a couple of comments, but before I share those, I'd like to invite our former speech evaluators up to talk about the speeches that we had today. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Brian up to provide his evaluation of Joe's speech.
I was asked to evaluate Joe's speech on how to give a talk, which is very fitting given our current situation and circumstances. And I learned quite a bit from his speech, so I appreciate him giving this to us. The thing that I liked the most about it is that it clarified how speeches should be organized, and that really put into perspective how I should start organizing my speeches going forward. And so I will take that handout that he gave us all, and I will definitely use that for my next speech that I'm giving. Very valuable. One thing I will say is that everything about his speech was useful information. He really didn't spend a lot of time on superfluous or fluffy information or funny humor. He really got down to the point, and everything he said was useful and pertinent to his speech. So I really liked that aspect of it. He did use humor, though, to lighten things up, such as, why do we have a conclusion? A lot of us, I was kind of thinking more along Amy's lines of, well, it gets us from point A to point B a little bit easier, but it was because no one has a conclusion. I will say that you did have to refer a bit to your notes, but I didn't think it was distracting. I thought it was okay. You used the notes as they were designed, more as a tool to be referred to, but you didn't read your notes. And so it wasn't distracting, it was a good use of them. And I really liked your conclusion, ending on that quote of, it was by Winston Churchill, you have the tools, now complete the task. And that was such a good challenge to end your speech on, giving us this new tool that we have to write these speeches. So I thank you for that, and I appreciate your speech.
Just to add a couple comments on to Brian's evaluation, thank you for that evaluation, Brian, is, again, I always learn something when Joe gives a speech. He provides us with some new source of knowledge, and we really appreciate the tools that Winston Churchill quote at the end, as Brian mentioned. Thank you for giving us the tools, and in fact, you challenged us to quickly write a speech, and I have a draft of my next speech already, so I appreciate that very much. Next up, I'd like to invite Amy to come up and evaluate Andrew's speech.
Fellow Toastmasters, specifically Andrew, thank you for the privilege of hearing your speech today and being able to provide an evaluation. The title of your speech, Challenges of Coaching Youth Sports. It's a very good context and story that you were able to bring to this topic, which is really focusing in on how to say it. Being concise, giving us perhaps new information or something we haven't thought of before in a very concise way that's easy to understand. I think you did a fantastic job of that in your speech. So check this one off. Good job, well done. I'd like to share a couple of examples of how I I saw that. First of which was in the structure of your speech. You came right out and said, I've got 3 points. All kids play, that's one of the challenges that you'd wanna see coach tackle. Understanding the children's abilities and finding ways to motivate and inspire the children, even if it's not through the win of the game and how they play it. You broke down each of those points into more details and followed through the story that you started with in the beginning and how those challenges you could relate to back to that story. So in the first point of all kids play, you said every game is practice. And that's a very simple, easy way to get across that point. It's not always about winning, it's thinking of it differently. Every kid gets to play because game is like practice, and who doesn't participate in practice? It's an easy way to get that point across. You did that with each of those challenges that you laid out for us. I also wanted to commend you, one example in the beginning, genius is the word I wrote in my notes. The abilities of the players, you brought us directly in. We all understood where you were coming from when you did a comparison between the Toastmaster member and the toddler. We were right there with you. We could all instantly relate to that. So again, getting into the strength of being able to achieve the topic and task of what you were to do here, using the story to do that, and you did it very well. A couple of suggestions for you. I noticed very good facial expressions and body language with your hands to get your points across. I did also notice a little bit of pacing. When you're trying to make a specific point, you can really use your body to drive the point home. So you might want to build more into driving those points through your body language. More than we were drawn in. I didn't think you had a lack of involvement with the audience. You had very good eye contact, very good facial, but driving in rather than, just using the stage. So that would be one example, and you'll learn more about that in some of the upcoming speeches that you'll give, where you're really focusing on the body language. So that's just one suggestion. Fantastic speech. Thank you for the very good points. I do hope that you would decide to coach in the future. Your daughter will be in good hands.
Just to add on a couple of comments to Amy's evaluation, some of the humor, the little quips and the humor that you put into your speeches is very wonderful. And I can also see, I remember Hyla saying this is your 4th speech, and you can see your comfort level increasing from the first speech that you gave over the last several speeches. Definitely you can tell that you have more comfort in front of the stage. And also I had the opportunity to be sitting right in front of Abby, so I could kind of tell when the cards were going up. And I knew you were getting closer to your end time, but you didn't change your pace or your speed. You stayed focused and kept going. So those were other good aspects of it. With that, I'd like to move on and invite our grammarian, Sarah, to come up and provide the grammarian report.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters again. First, I'm a little disappointed. I conclude that we have been a little lackadaisical in our use of our word of the day. So I wanted to start with my conclusion in honor of Joe. I used it twice, so I'm going to honor myself for that. And Chris used it once, and if I missed anybody else, I apologize. I think we all did a very good job speaking today. I didn't count a lot of work for speech connectors. I'll just go through what I observed. Abby had a few so's, very light, easy to miss. Shelley, in your inspiration at the beginning, no speech connectors. I think it flowed very nicely. The phrase that stuck out at me was when you were talking about music and how it can dissolve the perplexity. And I really liked that phrase. That was nice. Joe, with your speech, you're always a great speaker to listen to. I didn't count a single speech connector, of course. And the phrase that you said that stuck out to me was when you're talking about your conclusion and getting to the point, encapsulating the point. And I thought that was really nice. Andrew, in your speech, I was going to point out about the comparison to the Toastmaster and the toddler explaining their day. That was a really nice, or a nice thing to have in your speech. And your speech connectors have greatly decreased. I remember your first couple of speeches tell you're just kind of getting into the Toastmasters flow of things, but almost nothing. You did a really good job. You did have a few so's of all the words that you said. I think that was the one that you tended to use the most. And you tended to use now quite a bit. Sometimes it feels natural, and I don't always think it counts as a speech connector when it really does flow into the next phrase, but there were some more of those. But again, I think you had a great use of pauses in your speech. One thing I did notice, when you're pausing and you take a breath to move on to your next phrase, although it's really good to breathe, you can hear sometimes your exhale. It'd be, okay, I could hear that a few times. So just something to watch. Keep breathing, that's important. But maybe trying to make it feel a little more natural. Great job. Anne, on your table topic, great job. That was a hard one. I would have stumbled on that one for sure too. So it was nice to hear about your experience and looking for a new position. You had some ums in there, but I mean you were probably nervous and you know trying to think about what to say. I think you did a great job. Stacy, in your table topic, great job. The phrase that you said that stuck out to me is robust material life. I really like the word robust, and I don't think it's used enough. It's used in statistics a lot. In robust estimating. Just a few ums for you. And in terms of some speech connectors and the rest of us, Jenny, I just caught a few so's and an And Brian, you had a few so's, a couple ums, and so's. A few and so's. That seems to be something that comes out more when you speak. And the words that stuck out to me, superfluous. I can't even say it. When you're talking about information, I thought that was nice. And Amy, great job as always, just a couple of so's. I enjoyed your description of when using body language of driving in. I'm not good at doing that, so driving in is going to stay in my mind when I give my next speech. And that is my report.
Next up, I'll invite Abby to provide the timer's report.
Looks like our new video recorder can last the entire meeting. That's amazing. Timer's report, I'll go quickly. Our Toastmaster had a 2-minute intro. Thank you. It was just a little shy of 2 minutes. Sarah, lackadaisical. Couldn't even say it. It's just like, I said it now. I was non-lackadaisical. You can do it. No more tongue twister word of the day. You had a 5-minute time combined from the beginning and the end of the meeting for your time. Jill, you had a 5 to 8 minute time, and you were in just over 8 minutes at 8:20. Speaker number 2, Andrew, you asked for 5 to 7, and you were right on 7. Chris, when you spoke, it was just for 1 minute 10 seconds, and then 20 seconds. And then Ann, you took a table talk,
Yeah.
and you were when you spoke, when you actually started talking about the topic, that's when you timed you, and you were right at 2 minutes, so perfect. And Stacy, you were at 1 minute 50 seconds. And then Jenny, combined time that you've talked so far, it's about 1 minute and a half. And then Brian, your evaluation was 2 minutes 15 seconds. And Amy, your evaluation was 3 minutes 20 seconds. And Grammarian's report was 4 minutes 30 seconds. Thank you.
Could I ask you to return your pencils if anybody took any?
So if anyone took any pencils, if you would return those to Joe on your way out. As you all know, the evaluation portion is really meant to be a positive yet constructive experience. It's designed to help people overcome maybe some habits that they have, and I just said one of my habits, and also enhance those positive habits that they have as well too. We've heard a lot of great evaluations on our speeches and things, so I won't add anything else on that. I do have just a couple of other comments in general about our meeting. We did start about a minute late, but I believe that's because Chris and I were trying to figure out the camera. So Hiwa was set to go. I believe this is your first time as Toastmaster, is that correct? Well, you are not lackadaisical in leading the meeting. You kept us on track, you kept us on time. As you become more comfortable in the role, I certainly encourage you to add additional comments about things that are happening throughout the meeting, but you did a wonderful job for your first time leading the meeting. Again, we've already talked about the speeches. I do just want to say in response to the table topics, this also is why I joined Toastmasters, because I feel when I'm able to prepare for a speech, I feel very comfortable with that. It's that extraneous speaking that I joined Toastmasters for. And so on that note, I'd like to compliment Chris for not asking for volunteers. He listened to Shelley and what she shared last week, encouraging our table topics master to invite people to come up rather than ask for volunteers, so that was good. Leads to challenging for those who were asked to do a table topic, but that's something I need to be pushed to do as well too, so I appreciated that. And you did a wonderful job for your first table topic. And Stacy, what a profound message in 2 minutes that really set Chris up for his trip to Belize next week, so very nice. Overall, this meeting was very well run, learned a lot of new information as I always do in a Toastmasters meeting, so thank you.
A message from our president or any officer?
Thank you. I don't think we have any official announcements. However, if anybody is so inclined, the Chamber Toastmasters is having their open house. So in the interest of community, if you have an opportunity, they have a new meeting place in the Holiday Inn. I don't have the location on the top of my head, but it's in the Holiday Inn on Broadway building. And it is from 7 to 8 tomorrow morning. So show your support with the Toastmasters as a whole. If you are on Yammer, they have a very good video. I think Stacy also let me know, or somebody did in the club that let me know that they put that out there. So go look at it, get a chance. And I think that is all I had as far as unofficial business. Anything else from the other officers?
I just want to put a plug in. She's not here today, but Miranda is joining our club. She's been a guest for the last couple of times. So she'll be here just as a informational, and I'll send a note out to Anne is new and I'll be mentoring. I'll be her mentor. And we'll be looking for a mentor for Miranda as well. So I'll send an email around, but let me know if you're interested in being a mentor for one of our new members.
So next week's schedule, Toastmaster Brian, Grammary Ryan, Timer Chevy, Inspiration DeGenta, Speaker number 1 Abby, Speaker number 2 Courtney, Toastmaster Topic Master Deanna, General Evaluator Joe, Evaluator number 1 Andrew, Evaluator number 2 Tanya. Okay, thank you. That's all for today.
Yay.